Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back for day 4. We are on day 4 in our 8-day video series of my journey of being a director of nursing for the last 8 years in this same position. So if you don't know, I am Michelle Carter. I am the owner of MCB Nurse Consulting and the founder of the DLN Success Network, where is a place where a community for directors and nurses where we know your name, where we can connect with you and help you grow spiritually, professionally, financially, emotionally, and personally. So I'm excited to talk to you about my 4th year of being a director of nursing. I started in 2017, so that was my first year. 2018 was my second year. 2019 was my third year. And now we're going into 2020, where we are at 4 years. And boy, did things change in 2020. I do recollect in the beginning of 2020 how we first heard about coronavirus. And I remember in January 2020, I asked my medical director, should we be worried about this? And the reason I asked that is because the community I work in, the community I work in, because we're person-centered, so we use terms community, not facility. We have a lot of family members that travel throughout the country, throughout the world. So we were a little scared. He said, we shouldn't worry about it. We don't think it's going to get that bad. I don't think anybody knew how bad COVID was going to get. I'll never forget March of 2000, when everything shut down in March. It was crazy. It was crazy when everything shut down. We had no visitors. No family members couldn't see their loved ones. The world shut down. Things changed so much in 2020. It shut down in March. April 5th, my mom passed away. We were not able to have a funeral for her because of COVID. She was in another skilled facility, so she didn't die from COVID, but it was hard dealing with that and still being strong for my team. 20 was a handful. So much changed in 2020 for all of us. I remember me and my husband I would come home from work and we would watch things on the news, and we would see nurses who had marks all over their faces from the N95s, and the hospitals and nurses not having equipment. And I'm looking like, this is one of the richest countries in the world and one of the greatest countries in the world, but we didn't know how to take care of our healthcare workers because nobody was prepared for COVID. Hospitals are very, very equipped for infection control processes, and they weren't equipped. So as long-term care, we were not equipped. We weren't used to airborne isolation. We didn't have negative pressure rooms. And we didn't know what to do. People were scared. We lost nurses. We lost We lost CNAs. It was just really, really a trying time. And just, I don't know. When you sit and think about how 2020 is, I don't think any of us just sit and think about it. I think that's the time when it really showed the world how valuable nurses are. We've been valuable. We've been the backbone. Our CNAs, our LPNs, our nurses, We've all been the backbone of healthcare forever, but people didn't realize it until COVID hit. So 20 was a tough year. 20 was a tough year emotionally. It was a tough year, I think, for all of us emotionally. I can say my organization was extremely, extremely helpful. It was a tough year for me losing my mom. It was a tough year because it was a lot of family dynamics at that time. So, and then not being able to have that closure to truly have a traditional funeral, that was a tough year. It was tough. It was just a tough year. But I thank God for that year because it helped grow me. Everything that we go through, we have to grow. My mother wasn't suffering anymore. Of course, I don't want to lose her, but I don't want her to suffer either. And she was getting to the point where she was starting to show a lot of signs of vascular dementia, and that's not how she wanted to live. So, 20 was a tough year. It was a tough year across the board. Then our network, we had calls every day, 7 days a week at 2:00. Every VP, CEO, our CEO, our VPs, all our clinical, regional, regional positions, every DON, every administrator was on a call every day in 2020 at 2:00. What do you need? They made masks for us. They let us know the policies, how things were changing, what the policies was. I can honestly say I'm very, very blessed to work for this organization in COVID. And I know a lot of us didn't get that. A lot of directors and nurses didn't get the help they need. They didn't get the guidance they need. A lot of nurses left the bedside with COVID. And I had an opportunity to go through travel nursing. 2 reasons why I didn't. My granddaughter had just moved back with us, and it was a lot of dynamics that she was dealing with. I didn't want to leave her, and I didn't want to leave my team. And people probably look at me like, well, why would you pass that up? I've always, when I got in a position, I tried to be the captain like I'm supposed to be. I think 2020 is a time when I really realized this is my building. This is my responsibility, and I have to see him through it. I didn't know how I was going to see him through it, but I knew I had to see him through it. Something in my spirit, God told me, I need you to stay right where you're at. I'm still trying to finish my master's degree up in 20. So dealing with COVID, dealing with trying to do my classes for school, it was something. But I got through it. 2000 and at the end of 20, I'll never forget it. In 2020, we were still trying to, trying to get staffing, trying to work things, and I did a commercial for my organization. If you follow Presbyterian Senior Care, you can see the commercial I did. So I did a commercial for my organization, and there was a resident who I was in that commercial with, and we had became very, very close. And I lost that resident during COVID, and it was very hurtful. And in November of 2020, I think our first COVID case in for our building wasn't even until July. We had a couple, and we panicked. What do we do? Isolation, 14 days, N95s. Everybody was scared, but we got through it. Then we had another outbreak in October. I think it was like September, end of September, maybe beginning October. Follow the policies and procedures. Test it. Remember the testing. We tested twice a week. The staff, we constantly was testing the residents, testing the staff, coming in on night shift, making sure the residents got tested, making sure so we could get all the tests out. And this was for the rapid test. This is when we had to do the actual swabs, send them to the lab, get paper copies. It was people do not know what we went through in long-term care and COVID. But in November we got hit hard. And I remember there was a day that I had no nurses. I had no staff. And I have no problems taking a car if I have to. Ideally, none of us want to be, once you come out of that role and you're in a different role, you don't want to do it all the time because it's lack from what your role is. Because your work gets behind. But when it has to be done, it has to be done. I thought I was going to have to cover 3 cards. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. And I'm a worker. I've passed meds back in the day for up to 60 people. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but I did it. It took me all day, but I still did it. I've never been scared of work. I've never been scared of doing what has to be done. But I was scared that day. I didn't know what I was going to do. And by the grace of God, at the last minute, literally, shift starts at 2. At 1:15, we got another 2 nurses to stay the shift. Or 1 nurse to stay the shift and 1 nurse to come in. So I only literally had to take cover 1 car and be supervisor. I think that's the scariest I've ever been of what I'm going to do to take care of these residents. And we got hit hard. We lost residents. We had a lot of team members that got swiped. So for maybe about 8 weeks, it was just COVID positives. Every day we would get a COVID positive. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 COVID positives a day. And it was so overwhelming. And it just showed me how quickly life can change. And it made me appreciate life more. But being a director of nursing in the middle of COVID was probably one of the hardest situations I've ever had to deal with. Because I didn't know what I didn't know. And when your team looks at you for answers, you want to be able to give it to them. When your team is suffering, you want to be able to help them. When your family is worried about you and they're scared for you, you want to be able to tell them everything's okay. I came home. I dealt with the team being upset and crying and trying to figure it out. Then we'd come home, and me and my husband would watch it on the news. It was just like everywhere. We couldn't visit family members. Family members couldn't visit. And my granddaughter, she was dealing with it. It was she started her freshman year in high school in COVID, and she was so depressed because she couldn't go into school. It was just so hard in 2020. Still not being able to have closure for my mom passing away. 2020 was hard. And I didn't realize how hard it was until I sat here and decided to do this video and think about it. It was hard. That was my 4th year being a director of nursing at the facility I'm at now. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about year 5 tomorrow, 2021. Don't forget to like and subscribe for our YouTube channel, MCB Nurse Consultant. And I just thank you and appreciate you for going through this journey with me and of my 8 years. And take a moment and just remember how the world changed in 2020. Whether it was something that was good that happened in your life or something that bad, just take it to remember it and just remember how short life is and appreciate each and every day. And I will see you tomorrow for day 5. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.